Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today we are discussing a lovely model, originally launched back in 1992. This is the Patek Philippe Perpetual calendar, reference 5040G-016, a perpetual calendar in a gondolo-style tonneau case. It is a gorgeous and seamless monoblock construction in white gold. Taking a look at the size, it is quite reasonable. From side to side, I measure 36 millimeters without the crown. In profile, it is 9.4 millimeters thick, and from lug to lug, a wonderfully compact 43 millimeters with an 18 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now let's throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. It is a fantastic option. Unisex, male, female, doesn't matter. Big wrist, small wrist, it's a Patek Philippe white gold perpetual calendar. It's got the gravitas. Don't worry about your wrist being too large, but know this. A wrist as small as 13 centimeters in circumference can wear this watch comfortably, securely, and with a handsome proportion. Down the barrel, you can see it's nowhere near the edge of my wrist. If you're a male collector who prefers discreet complications in branding, or perhaps a lady who prefers not to buy small quartz and diamond studded, this is an awesome all-arounder. And of course, with a white metal and a black dial, it's a little bit sportier than your typical dress watch, so it can be worn casually. Taking a look at the hardware and the software, you can see this is a Patek Philippe factory strap in outstanding condition. Calf skin on the bottom, large rectangular scale alligator leather on the top, flat unbolstered monotone stitch in black with sheer cut sides. Note the use of pull tab spring bars on the underside, so you can just pop the strap off with a push of your fingernail. The finish is a semi-gloss, and you can see it's equipped with a feature that was not common back in the 90s, a Patek Philippe full folding clasp made of matching white gold with the Calatrava cross. This is likely a later upgrade option purchased by the prior owner. Now the watch, of course, features a number of nostalgic elements, as it features a Sigma or a priori mark dial and lateral case stamping. Now you can see that this model features the St. Bernard head that was the Swiss precious metal hallmark from mid-1995 onward. So because this watch was retailed in 1998 and we see that post 1995 hallmark, we have a good sense of when this watch was made. However, back in that period, the mid to late 90s, Patek was still stamping hallmarks on the sides of the case, which is a wonderful and I find kind of quirky and quaint kind of feature of this watch, along with its wonderfully discreet size. Now you can see it is a wonderfully organic case shape. Very few straight edges here. Almost everything is fluid, compound curved, graceful, lithe, and sexy. This is, of course, white gold, so you can see it's a little bit darker and a little bit warmer in tone than platinum or steel. You can see that the timepiece does have a slight recession of its crown, so it doesn't dominate the profile. And then you can see that the case is a monoblock. There's no seam between the bezel and the case, so everything you see on the front is one-piece construction. And then it's a back loader with the dial and the movement loading in through the back, which is then covered by a snap cover. The movement is gorgeous, and we may as well talk about it before progressing to the dial. It's the caliber 240Q Quantième. It is a perpetual calendar automatic. The basic movement, the 240, launched in 1977, and since then the micro rotor has been the more upscale, exclusive, and expensive of Patek automatic calibers compared to the center rotor series. Now you can see it has a 22 karat mass that is a micro rotor winder with a 48-hour power reserve. It beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. All of this with a snapback is 30 meters water resistant, so don't swim with it. And you can see, since this watch, of course, is considerably older than the 2009 changeover to the Patek Philippe seal, this one features the Poinçon de Genève, or the Geneva hallmark, on its surface, attesting to its standard of finishing chronometry. Now, it's a 27 joule movement adjusted in the high horology and chronometer standard of 5 positions. And then we have a Patek Philippe free-sprung Gyromax style balance, something Patek developed in the late 40s and implemented in the early 50s. It was one of the first free-sprung balance architectures that allowed precise regulation and then resistance to shock-induced or concussion-induced timing deviation. One of the real advantages of the micro rotor is that you get a thinner profile than a center rotor, and unlike a center rotor, which has a big winding bridge blocking your view and a rotor on top of that, the micro rotor puts the rotor in the same plane as the other bridges, so you have a complete unobstructed view of that for which you've paid. Now we have engine-turned perlage on the base plate, satination on the wheels, black polished screw heads with chamfered slots in circumference. You could see perfectly aligned Côte de Genève running across the bridges, and then I'll do my best to show this. There is a mirrored anglage rounded beveling or chamfer on the edge of each bridge. Nicely done. You can also see there are Côte de Genève as well as a mechanical chamfer on the side of the rotor itself. All of this technically and aesthetically outstanding. On the dial side, you see it's very simple. It's matte black with a small Patek Philippe and City of Origin stamp. It would get much bigger later on. White on black print with a railroad track for minutes for easy reading. You have white gold Arabic numerals and white gold cabochon down at 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock. The a priori marks, promoted by a Swiss Precious Metals trade association from the 70s through the 90s. The 90s were really the end of this so-called Sigma mark, so that's another end-of-the-line element from this period. A perpetual calendar able to deal with leap years and irregular length months. This watch is quite handy, and it has the moon phase, so it's also romantic. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.